The upcoming stories can all be found in various religious texts, but the atheist content creators telling the stories are drunk. So, whilst the stories are genuine, the details may be embellished. A little. Welcome to Holy Spirits.
Okay, so like an invocation to open up our session. I um um I totally blanking on anything that might be considered an invocation other than what did on the night of our Lord's betrayal, he lifted his glass and said, "Drink this in remembrance of me." Let's drink this in remembrance of all the children who have been victimized by the adults that they trusted in the churches that they attended. Sorry, is that the drum that I beat? I think that's a drum I beat pretty hard. Of all the things I regret, it's kids' ministry. L'chaim.
And then if you decided to go the medium route and summon a spirit, so like if you were about to be burninated by the Philistines,
Burnination.
if you're about to be burninated by the Philistines,
Yes.
Whose spirit would you call upon to ask questions?
Like my first response is Judy Garland, but I don't know why. Yeah, I don't know. Like maybe she would, Judy Garland would just help me like get in touch with like my inner Dorothy. And then I could get the fuck out of there and into the land of Oz and then conquer the fuck out of those munchkins because they're asking for it. Oh, Yomalies, welcome to Holy Spirits. I am your storyteller for the day, Stephen Harder. I am drinking some beautiful sangria. This is my first time making a sangria. Do you want to know the reason why I am holy? This this was a full picture. It is not a full picture anymore. Good times. The reason why I'm drinking a sangria, I recently moved in with my partner. He is a lovely man, lovely. And yet we're different, believe it or not. Every week I say, okay, I'm going shopping. And he's like, oh, you know that we have food in the fridge, right? And like, yeah, I know that we have food in the fridge. Like sometimes it'll be like the fridge is like a third filled with apples from his apple trees. Or like, yeah, there's food in the fridge. There's like 5 zucchini in the fridge. Or yeah, there's food in the fridge. There's like 12 liters of green beans. And like for him, it's just like, why do we need to buy food when the earth has provided all this food for us? And I'm like, honey, man cannot live on fruits and veggies alone, right? Like for me, a meal needs to consist of like a protein, a carb, and some plant matter. And it's just a way that we are trying to synchronize ourselves. And so when I found out that I needed to be imbibing for Holy Spirits today, I was like, what? Like, I am a paperweight. I am such a paperweight when it comes to drinking. Because for my teens and 20s, I was in my rebellious phase. And for me, my rebellious phase was like, Mom and Dad, you think you know how to live a good life? You drinking your beer and you watching reality TV and you not going to church? You think you know how to live a good life? Well, I am going to show you how to live a good life. Okay, I'm going to go to church every Sunday. I'm going to teach Sunday school. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. So I spent my teens and my 20s like at Bible study and teaching Sunday school and all that shit. And so I wasn't drinking until like 2018, when our baby was just too much. And then I started drinking. So I am a real paperweight. So I thought, what am I going to drink for this recording of Holy Spirits? And then I realized, maybe I'll make a sangria, because that's just like wine and fruit. And we have these bottles of wine that he's collected over the years that he doesn't drink. And he's got all this motherfucking fruit just sitting around. He'll be so happy that I'm not going out and buying anything. I'm just using the stuff that's in the house. So that is why I am enjoying this sangria today. And also, let's pretend that it's sort of like a spooky Halloweeny kind of drink. It isn't at all, but we're going to pretend that it is. It's like whatever, Spanish, right? So it's just fruit and red wine, and some Crown Royal, repping Canada here. But we need to be like getting into the spooky mood, because today we are telling a very spooky story about the Witch of Endor. Ooh. So that is my task today, is to get smashed by just looking at some wine and fruit juice, and then describing for you what happens when Saul goes to consult a medium to hear from God. So for those of you who didn't do the reading in advance like you were supposed to, for the longest time, like whatever, in the history of the Old Testament, God's communication with his creation starts off intimate, and then the gap gets wider and wider, right? He starts off by like walking in the Garden of Eden with Adam until Eve comes and fucks it all up, right? And then he has to like distance himself, and then like as the generations go on, he gets more and more distance. He's talking to Moses only on the mountaintop, and then Moses is supposed to communicate his words to the people, and then eventually that's not enough. So then God talks to Moses, Moses talks to Aaron, Aaron is now the mouthpiece, and then God communicates to the Israelites through the judges. And then, like, especially during the time of the judges, like, all the Israelites are looking at like the kingdoms around them, and they're like, oh my God, oh my God, Yahweh, we want a king. Everyone else has a king. Look at all these Canaanites around us. They all have kings. Why can't we have a king? And God's like, excuse me, as long as you are living in my promised land, you are going to live by my rules, and you do not need a king. You're supposed to be separate from everyone. And they're like, oh my God, that is so unfair. I hate you. And then Yahweh's like, fine. You want a king? You'll get a king. And I choose Saul to be your king. And so Saul is king for a while. And then God's like, hey, king, go tell your army to do genocide against the Amalekamites. And then Saul's like, I don't think I'm going to do the genocide against the Amalekamites. Amalekamites? I'm not saying that right. And that's fine. Amalekamites. Nope, still not saying it right. But that doesn't come as a big surprise, because properly pronunciating words, not in my vocabulary. So Saul doesn't commit genocide against the Amalekamites like God told him to. And God's like, motherfucker, I've made you king and you're not going to do what I say? Forget it. Deal's off. You are not going to be king. I'm going to choose someone else to be king. Someone who is better than you, and eeny, meeny, David. I'm going to choose this David mofo. He's going to be king after you, because you are done. And then Samuel's like, oh, really, David? Like, what's special about him? And God's like, nothing's really special about him, but let's tell everyone that he killed Goliath, even though he didn't. And then maybe that will be enough to like make him special to the people. So Samuel goes to Saul and he's like, hey, sorry, you're out and David's going to be in. And Saul's like, what? Oh, no, I don't like this. I'm going to kill David. And then Jonathan is all like, oh, Daddy, no, I love him. Don't kill him. Because David and Jonathan, their love was better than that of women. I'm not saying there's 69, and I'm sure one of them was topping, but it doesn't matter. That's neither here nor there when it comes to the Witch of Endor. She wasn't involved in any of that kinky shit. So I find it so interesting because, like, one of David's, like, well, like when you think of David, the first story you think of is David killing Goliath, which even in the Bible it says that this other guy killed Goliath, not David, and then they just like retrofitted like that into his backstory to make him sound more impressive than he actually is. But like David versus the Philistines is like what was one of those key features of the story that we think of. And at this time, Saul, during the end of his kingship, he is being faced by a Philistine army, and David is like on their side. He is like, all of David and his men are fighting with the Philistines against Saul and his army of Israeli army. Doesn't matter. And so Saul is like looking at this army, which includes David, and he's like, oh shit, what's going to happen? God, tell me what's going to happen. And he's like using all of his, like, he's got his magic 8-ball. He's like, okay, am I going to win this army? Or am I going to win this war? And he looks at it, it's like, made in Taiwan. It's like, oh, that's no good. Throws it away. And then he's like, I don't know. He's like, doing the tea leaf thing. Am I going to win this battle? And he's just like, fuck, they're just tea leaves. I don't know what they're saying. And he's like, okay, what if I like get a tarot reading? It's just like, the tower upside down. Psh. That's a reference that's meaningful to me. It's probably not. There's going to be 10% of anybody who's like, that's also meaningful too. Anyways, Saul is seeking out a word from God. Oh, sorry. Samuel's dead by this point. He's like buried in Ramah already. Ramah? Yeah, Ramah. Mara? Ramah. He's buried in Ramah, his hometown. And Saul's just like, well, how am I going to hear from God if Samuel's not around? So he's trying all these other things. He consults the Urim and Thummim, and that doesn't yield anything. He's consulting dreams, doesn't result in anything. He's like, fuck, I need a witch. Someone get me a witch. And they're like, oh, I'm sorry, sir, but you already drove out all the witches upon punishment of death. And he's like, damn it, find me a witch. And so someone's like, sir, I believe there is a witch in Mordor. Ooh, witch. Insert jack-o'-lantern. So Saul's like, okay, let's go. But he knows that he can't like just go there because he has to like hide his identity. So he like, I don't know, puts on a fake mustache or something. Let's say that he's clean shaven and he puts, I don't know if he was. I wasn't there. I'm only 45. So they like puts on a fake mustache and maybe has like a monocle on. And so him and his men are like, tuk, 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 tuk. So they go to the Witch of Endor. Ooh. Pretend that she's like living in like a Hagrid's hut kind of thing, but not like really a Hagrid's hut because we don't support anything that JK has to do anymore. But it's that kind of imagery, and there's pumpkins growing outside, and maybe there's a black cat walking around. Ooh. So Saul and his men come up upon the Witch of Endor's hut. And let's pretend that there's like a foggy mist all around the hut. Rap, 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 rap. What do you want, my pretty? And they're like, oh, we're here to get a prophetic. I need someone to like conjure spirits. And she's like, oh, Saul has forbidden that. I would never do that. And they're like, honey, listen, do us a solid. Nothing bad is going to happen. Please, we got your back. And she's like, okay. And then they come in. Close the door behind them. Close the curtains. Light a black candle. And she's like, who do you want to summon, my pretty? I'm like, I want you to summon the ghost of the prophet Samuel. And she's like, okay. And I don't know, what would she do to like summon the ghost of Samuel? I'm not too sure. Maybe if I drink some more of this, I'll think of something. part of the reason why I don't drink is I'm such a baby when it comes to like feeling sick, and I'm so scared that if I get hungover, I'm just going to like ruin a total day. So she, what does she do to like summon the spirit? She draws like a pentagram on the ground, and then she like takes a crow, cracks its neck, and takes its guts out, like, and she's like muttering some incantations. She like lights a candle, whoosh, and then she does one more thing to like invoke the spirit of Samuel, and that is she she starts twerking. I don't know how to twerk, especially when I'm sitting down, but the Witch of Endor definitely had to twerk in order to summon up the spirit of Samuel. And this is when, like, these Old Testament people and their oral traditions just are not solid with the details, because, okay, what is the order? I don't know the order. Okay, so she sees a ghost rising up from the ground. When she sees the ghost, she's just like, oh my God, you're Saul. Not that the ghost was Saul, but when she sees the ghost, she recognizes Saul as Saul. I don't know, maybe his mustache was falling off or something. And he's like, it's fine. Just do what I told you to do, bitch. And so he's like, what do you see? And she's like, I'm seeing a guy in a robe. And Saul is like, oh my fucking God, that's got to be Samuel. I'm like, how does that work? Like, did Samuel invent the robe? Was he the only person that was wearing? And why is, like, not that I'm disappointed that he's wearing a robe. I love a DILF probably more than the next person, but like, why do spirits wear? I don't understand. Like, does a spirit automatically wear whatever they were wearing when they died? I don't. This ain't going to give me any answers. So the witch says, it's a guy wearing a robe. And then Saul's like, oh my fucking God, I know that guy. That is Samuel. And then, like, because he couldn't see what she saw, so then he had to ask her what she saw. But then he's just like conversing with Samuel as though he can see. And I'm just confused. Like, I don't know, like, should we just pretend that she is like, when she like calls up the spirit, that she like becomes possessed by the spirit? Now she's like, oh, does he talk in this voice? Oh, I'm Samuel. What do you want with me? It's kind of like a cross between Samuel and then the witch's voice. I think that like visually makes a good story. So we're going to pretend that like when she's now acting as a medium. Oh, and that's why maybe some people call her the medium of Endor. Okay, so now she's like the medium. She's like possessed by the spirit of Samuel. And he's like, oh, Samuel, oh my God, I'm so glad that you're here. He's like, bitch, what are you doing? Why did you summon me? He's like, dude, you won't believe it. David and this Philistine army are on my border, and I totally want to know if I'm going to lose to them or not. And God won't answer me, man. Like, ever since you died, nothing's been the same. I miss you. And then Samuel's all like, listen here, honey. Listen here, honey. I already told you what God said, that God is going to take away your kingship. And now, when I'm finally getting a bit of peace and rest from you and your bitchiness, you are going to call me back and ask me to talk to God on your behalf? Girl, check yourself before you wreck yourself. Oh, wait, I guess the Philistines are going to take care of that for you, because within 24 hours, you and your son, you're going to be with me in Sheol, not like whatever, wherever, apparently in the ground, because it specifically says that they saw him rising up out of the ground. And this distresses Saul to find out that he is going to die in the upcoming battle. And he is not happy about this. And so gets all emo. And then I guess Samuel goes away, because then the witch is like, she's a little bit worried because she is not supposed to be practicing witchcraft mediumship because that's against the law. And she sees how hangry Saul is. So she's like trying to save her own skin. So she's like, "Oh, you're so hungry because you haven't eaten in a while. Let me prepare you some food. Let me like do anything to curry favor with you." And he's like, "Oh no, it won't do. I'm too sad to eat any food." And she's like, "I'm still gonna do what I can do to try to save my own skin here." So she like prepares the fattened calf. I don't know how you prepare a fattened calf other than like killing it and then chopping up. Like, isn't that how? I don't know. Call me a noob when it comes to butchering, but it seems as though like preparing a fattened calf, that's not like taking out a pound of ground beef from the freezer, because you can take that pound of ground beef out, put it in the freezer. Like, technically you should probably have like taken it out. I don't know. Taken it out at the beginning of the day and letting it thaw naturally, because using the microwave it's not going to get a like even thaw, I guess. But still, that'll take a few minutes, and then you can like cook it. But like, I don't know, if you're like preparing, like you gotta like kill the thing, and then you gotta butcher the thing, and then you gotta cook the thing like that. That's not as quick as DoorDash, How did they do that back in the day? I don't know. So she's going to prepare the fattened calf. I don't know. Parsnips? What kind of vegetables do they even have in the Middle East? I don't know. Parsnips, I think. Maybe. I don't think they have carrots. Potatoes? They've got to have some kind of potato. Maybe grain. Unleavened bread. Yes. I actually know this detail. She makes some unleavened bread. So I guess, I don't know, she like throws the fattened calf into the quick cooker and like sets it to like rotisserie, like, I don't know, 20 minutes? Or maybe more, because she has to like bake the bread 30 minutes. Then she gets her grain, puts in some oil, maybe some seeds, maybe a bit of rosemary. I think rosemary and fattened calf might be good if I wasn't an aspiring vegan. So she makes some unleavened bread, and then like whatever. I guess, I don't know. Saul was just like chilling out and being just like drawing in the dirt, and she's like, I don't want to lose. I don't want to die tomorrow. Yeah. Just being a real pouty bitch about it. I don't know. But whatever. He's whatever. He hasn't eaten in a day because he's so worried about losing this battle and losing everything. And maybe if he hadn't pissed off God and Samuel, maybe he could have just like let his soldiers die and he could have gotten away. I don't know. Anyways, time passes. We don't know how much. Witch comes back and she's like, hey, here, have some roast calf and some dry bread. And then his soldiers are like, come on, Saul, we're hungry. Let's eat. Come on, it'll be fine. So he's like, fine, I'll have a sandwich, I guess. And then he feels better because that's what happens when you eat. So he goes back home with his soldiers, takes off the mustache, throws it away. Takes the monocle, throws it away. Fuck that. I'm going to go out swinging. And then he probably like is thinking about the Rocky music. He's like, dun, 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 dun. I don't know the Rocky music. I haven't seen those movies. The next day, he's like, okay, soldiers, don't shoot until you see the white of their eyes. Remember the Alamo. People who say "nyeh" or whatever that thing is, I don't know. So then they go into the fight, against all the Philistines. Oh, by the way, just because this is such an important detail, so the king of Philistinia his people are like, dude, what the fuck? Why is David here? Like, he's totally going to betray you in the battle. And the king is like, bitch, check yourself. David has been loyal to me throughout this whole time. And you say that he is going to betray me just because we're like fighting Saul now? Like, where do you get off? And like, no, bro, check, listen. It makes sense. Like, in order to like win the favor of King Saul, wouldn't it be amazing for him to like suddenly start killing us in the middle of the battle that he's losing? Think about it. And the king is like, I can't argue against that logic. Okay. So he goes to David. He's like, David, I love you. You're amazing, but you need to sit this one out. I don't want you fighting in this battle. So go to this other place in Philistinia. And we've got this. We've got this. You just chill. And Dave's like, oh, okay. Oh, wait, no, this one. Deuces, I'm just going to chill. Because, I don't know, if you don't have to fight in a battle, why would you? So David amscrays out of there. And then the Philistines go. I was like, we got the Philistine army here. And we got the Israelite army over here. He's like, yeah, we're going to do this. Blah, 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 blah. So suddenly, like, like people are dying, as they do during barbaric times, including Saul's sons, including Jonathan. Like, oh no, father, oh, if only I could suck David's cock one last time. And then Saul, he gets struck by an arrow. Well, somewhere that was he was bleeding out a little bit. Where could we say that he got struck by an arrow so that he's bleeding out? Not the jugular, because that'd be too quick. Not like the leg thing. Is there a good place to get struck by an arrow where your death is going to be slow and inevitable? I don't know. Do you know, Dr. Ben? Is there a good place to get struck by an arrow where your death is slow but inevitable?
I don't know a good place, because they'd all seem like bad places to be struck by an arrow. But as far as like, I don't know if it's gonna be slower. Maybe something in the leg where it hits like a major artery, so it's still gonna happen, but it's gonna be a bit more drawn out. Like that would be my thought.
Yeah. So Saul is just like, whoa. Let's say he's dual wielding, and then one sword gets knocked away, and he's like, oh motherfucker, joke's on you, I'm two-handed, and then he loses his other sword, and now he's just like karate kicking like all these soldiers, and then in come the arrows, and he's like karate kicking the arrows, and then right through the groin. He gets like sliced with an arrow. He's like, no! Boom, 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 boom. He falls. And he's like, oh my fucking God, you like nicked my carotid artery, man. I'm totally going to die. I'm trying to staunch the bleeding and it's not working. My St. John's First Ambulance is failing me. And so he's like, hey, armor bearer, A, what the fuck? Why did you let this arrow nick my carotid artery? 2, if you don't ice me right now, these Philistine mofos are going to totally Sodom and Gomorrah my ass and kill me. I don't want to be conscious. I don't want to be alive for that. So do me a solid and me right now. And his armor bearer is like, whoa, no way. I can't. I'm an armor bearer. I'm holding your fucking shield. Do you think I'm holding your shield because I want to kill people? I'm a motherfucking I'm a motherfucking pacifist. I am not here to kill people. I'm supposed to protect you. And admittedly, I failed at that, but 2 rights do not make a wrong, nor do 2 wrongs make a right. So I'm just going to try to protect you from more arrows. And then, like, Saul sees these Philistines coming, and they've got the biggest hard-ons ever because they want to get some of the Saul ass. And he's like, fine, I'll do it my fucking self. And he takes a sword and then his armor bearer is just like, well, I guess I can make an exception to the rule one time. And he takes Saul's sword and he's like, they're dead. Saul ices himself, and so does his armor bearer. And then he loses, and then David eventually becomes king, which is great until it doesn't. But you know who gets off is the Witch of Endor, who may or may not have been Agatha Harkness all along. And that is what happens when you consult a medium. You might get some bad news.